Okay. I will call the meeting to order. It was properly posted on September 19th. Is there any discussion or approval of the minutes from August 17th?
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
4 through 29 are the consent docket items.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Then we have some transfer. This is for employee benefits in the amount of $13,000. Do we need to say anything about it? Go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is just to move money from our operations account to capital to finish some equipment buying, like a copier and some file cabinets and stuff like that. It's just, we're not asking for any more money, just transferring from operations to capital.
Move approval.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Explain to me what it meant, because I don't speak medical. And it was just an awesome experience for the doctor to sit with me and explain what's really wrong with me.
Well, that's good to hear.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did it take him a long time?
Of course not. I'm saying.
I think he meant to explain what was wrong with you.
Of course not. I put your face.
Oh, that was me.
There's a lot wrong with his face right now, I guarantee you.
I'll make you do that to you again.
All right, John, you want to explain the next one?
The next one's just to transfer money from our account to facilities management. We've got to the 10% rule in our capital account due to the build out, and there's a lot of pipes that need to be covered up, and Keith graciously covered the cost to cover all those pipes up and do the work, and we're just transferring money to cover that.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, a cash fund appropriation to employee benefits. This was approved by the Budget Board and the Excise Board in June of 2017.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item 33, it was another transfer. This is for the workers' comp. This was also approved by the Budget Board and the Excise Board in June.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item 34, for salary and operation. This is a cash transfer. Dane, do you want to speak to this? Or?
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
We're just requesting a transfer of $100,000 from salary into maintenance and operations, just to keep us under the 90% encumbrance rule.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Dane. Transfer appropriations. This is for facilities maintenance. Keith, same thing. Is he here? He's not here. I think this is for the same reason.
Motion to move.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Danny, our monthly report.
Good morning.
I think the clerk needs to know who made the motion on that last item.
I told you.
Okay. Go ahead, Danny.
All right, let's take a look at page 3 of the monthly report. All the numbers we talk about today are through the end of August. Page 3 is the general fund. Through the month of August, we have collected $2.9 million in revenue. That's about 3.5% of what we budget for the year. Right on pace with where we were last year at the 3.5%. We have expended $9.3 million of our budget so far this year. That's at 11.5% of what we budget. That's the same amount that we had spent percentage-wise through the end of August of last year. Page 5, still looking at general fund, just comparing month to month, to last year through August. To date, in revenue, we collected $182,000 more than a year ago, and we've spent about $90,000 more than we did last year. We have transferred and temporary transfers $2.5 million so far through the month of August. That's to help with the cash flow problem that we have in general fund this time of year until you see property taxes start coming in December. Let's take a quick look at employee benefits fund. That is page 11. We ended the month with a cash balance of $1,142,000 in employee benefits. Taking the first 2 months and projecting out the year based on just those first 2 months is that second to last column there, the estimated annual, still shows that we're going to be almost $2 million short. Again, that's just based on 2 months of data, so obviously we're watching that moving forward. Just a reminder that we did fund it to the tune of about $2 million less than we did a year ago with general fund transfers. We do have money in general fund reserve, kind of earmarked just in case we need to move money going forward. But as of right now through August, we're going to be about $2 million short. Medical and prescription claims through August compared to last year are down about $284,000. That's about a 7.3% decrease for the first 2 months. We do have some data that's not on your screen there, but I don't believe, but it may be. But I've got some numbers through September. We've got claims through the end of next week. So the picture gets a little bit better for medical and prescription claims. Medical, when you compare weeks to last year through September, we're down about 9.3%, and prescription claims were down about 27% over the same time last year. So 3 months in, we're about $1 million less in medical and prescription claims paid than we were last year, so that's really good news.
Great.
And that's all I have, unless you have any further questions.
Questions of Danny? If not, is there a motion to approve these reports?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
John? Health insurance plan?
First, a couple updates on the health plan. Next month on the budget board, we'll have the annual actuarial report for the suggested employer and employee premiums. Usually we get that in October. We did a lot of work to get it early. And the question's always been when we bring it to the board, it has to be approved right then because we have annual enrollment we have to roll out. But this year we wanted to bring it to the BET first, so that's why it's not on the agenda this month. So hopefully the BET can review it before the next budget board and review those suggested premiums. And that's why it's not on here. Next, exciting news. You know, ImWell was bought out by Premise Health. Premise Health is a national company, lots of resources. And I've been looking at telehealth and virtual health for a while, but there's never been a connection with our health plan in terms of reporting and disease management. But Premise Health is going to roll out to us the option to do virtual health visits, telehealth visits, first part of January. And the good news and exciting news about that is they have all the disease management apparatus in place to track and report, just like they do the visits there at ImWell Health. So it's all integrated, which is really exciting. So we should be rolling out more information about that in the coming months. So they'd be able to see the same doctors, same clinicians, same management approach, and it's all virtual or telephonic too, at a really good cost. Next, our annual health risk assessments are wrapping up. We've had great participation, probably better than ever. We did an extra day, and we're having an extra day here tomorrow, right here in this room. So encourage your employees, if they haven't come by tomorrow morning. There are no appointments, just show up for the testing. But again, we've had great participation so far. Okay, and then, now I'm going to move on to this report. And I apologize, if you look at the prescription drug line and the gross payment line, those should be negative amounts. And these reports differ a little bit from Danny's because this information comes directly from HealthSmart. But really what I want to focus on, and again, we're only through September 18th on this report, but it still has some data, And if you really look at the percentage-wise, the difference, what drove our plan last year was inpatient claims and outpatient claims, and those are down. Those are trending down after 2.5 months. And again, prescription drug is trending way down. So if you include some extra stop-loss payments that we've received, we're really down about $1.4 million this year, because we've received about $500,000 back in stop-loss, which is a lot to start the fiscal year. So that's really good news. Hopefully it trends out that way. I've got a couple requests from several different elected officials to show some more information on our prescription drug plan. So what I looked at on that RX plan update down below, I actually looked at claims incurred in July and August last fiscal year versus July and August claims this year on a prescription plan to really look apples to apples, what's going on, and comparing claims incurred during the last fiscal year, July and August, versus this July and August, we're down 18.9%, and that's due to the prescription plan changes. Employees and retirees are actually paying 13.8% less every time they go to the pharmacy too, and that's not cutting benefits, that's just the new plan. We're getting bigger discounts. So on the next page, this is some of the information I was requested to show, is our top 20 drugs, and this is really interesting. Most of these are specialty drugs. This is not uncommon. This is common in the marketplace, especially with our plan, since we have aging population. We have a pretty sick population. What we see on this list is a lot of specialty injectable drugs, but we're getting really great prices now. You know, we have the purchasing power now of over 2 million employees through that new Health Action Council on our prescription plans. We're getting lower prices, and we're going to get a lot bigger rebates. We get rebate checks every quarter, so expect to see next month our first rebate check from CVS. It's directly related to these drugs you see on this page. This is really interesting. These drugs, these 20 drugs, made up 49% of our cost on our prescription plan. We had 6,400 prescriptions filled in the first 2 months. These 20 drugs had 260 prescriptions filled, and they made up 49% of the cost. And that's normal, because we have a lot of cancer patients, we have multiple sclerosis, arthritis cases. That's really what drives our prescription costs. But we're getting good prices and should get a lot better rebates on these drugs too, and we'll see that soon. And then the last page of my report is actually from CVS, so you know I'm not making it up. This compares last fiscal year versus this fiscal year paid claims that were incurred and paid in July and August versus last fiscal year. And this shows that, you know, we're down about 18.9% on what we're paying on actual claims, and members are paying 13.8% less. So this is really the raw data. And it takes a while for a trend to really get up to full speed, so maybe about 6 months through we can see. But just based on this, we'll be well over $1 million in savings just on a prescription plan without reducing any benefits.
Questions of John? If not, is there a motion to receive these reports?
Motion to receive?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's great
Yeah.
work, John. Thank you.
This is for supplemental appropriations for the employee benefits. David, do you want to talk about this? Item 38.
Danny will.
Danny?
Yes, so this is what we call the September supplement, where we update our estimated revenue and fund balance for our general fund budget. And the way we do that is on this revenue sheet that you see here. That first column is our adopted budget. Those are all the revenue categories in general fund. That's what we had estimated back in April. And then we also had estimated a fund balance. So once we close out the fiscal year in June, and then we get the certified levies from the county assessor's office, then we update these numbers. And so if you just compare the two columns, the middle column is the new budgeted revenue and fund balance. The comparison to what we estimate for revenue compared to what we had originally budgeted is about a $177,000 increase. The property tax, which is the very top line, line number 1, did not change much at all. Usually that's where we see a bulk of our supplement, but there wasn't much change there. So revenue, our estimate changed to the tune of $177,760, slight increase over what we had budgeted. The big change is the fund balance. We had originally estimated a fund balance of $7.3 million. The fund balance now is $9.7 million. That's a $2,468,000 increase, or about 33%. So the fund balance increase, the revenue increase, those two total up are a supplement of $2,646,137. The reason for the fund balance increase, a couple items here. We did not budget for the resale that was brought into general fund in June. That was $1,440,000. That was not included in the original estimate of the fund balance. And then property tax estimated came in about $637,000 higher than what we had projected. The rest of that makes up about $2 million of that difference. And then the rest of it is we had estimated that we would lapse out of our reserve fund about $1.4 million. We actually lapsed $1.7 million. So the resale, the property tax, and the lapsed fund reserve, makes up that total increase in the fund balance. So all total, you have $2,646,137. By statute, we have to fund the county audit budget at 1/10 a mil. So we will have to update that number. We'll have to increase their budget by $25,201. Once you take that off, you've got $2,620,935 to do something with. We do have a BET recommendation coming up to recommend that we put that money in reserve. So,
Is there a motion to receive these reports?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, go for it.
Still me?
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah, item 39, this is the county estimate needs and financial statements. These are the statements that we, by statute, are required to do every year, and those get filed with the state auditor's office. These are the actual statements here. So we're just asking that you receive those statements today.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
What, do we need a motion to approve?
Yes, to approve them. I'm sorry, not receive, approve them.
Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, now Cody, our BET report. Or Christie.
I'm filling in for Cody. Good
Thank
morning. On your BET watch list, we added 4 items. They're listed there. One is capital projects, an 8th floor courthouse update or remodel. The county audit that Danny touched on, which is by statute. The purchasing department is requesting money for raises. It'd be a 5% raise. For their department, it would start October through June. A little backstory there is Jane and her people have not had raises since about 2012. And then you've got the sheriff item that was added. This is the amount from the spring that wasn't funded. BET has 3 recommendations. 2 of them are with the supplement that Danny just talked about. One, obviously, doing the county audit, that amount, and the balance of the supplement, then putting it in the reserve. The other recommendation, which you'll address in item 41, before you'll vote on it, is the raise for the purchasing department. And that's all I had, unless you have questions.
Is there questions, Christie? If not, is there a motion to receive a report?
Motion to receive.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
As she mentioned, the amount for purchasing, item 41. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
The treasurer.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, she asked for who seconded. Go ahead.
I have a question. On these raises, as everybody knows, I'm trying to get my people up to a level, actually the lowest level, which would be next to us is Butch. And these raises, where are they at on the scale? Are they with the clerk's office? Are they equal to, what office are y'all?
James,
What is your average
speak.
pay scale right now?
I really can't answer that question. I don't have that information. But I do know that we're much lower than some of the other departments, and some of my people now are accepting jobs in other departments, and, you know, because they can make more money than staying in our area. All I'm hoping to do is to, you know, get enough money so that those folks will stay and not opt out to other locations.
We hired one of your employees, but that wasn't at the same position. It was at a much higher level because we have them doing a much higher level
Right.
job. But what I'm worried about, what I'm trying to avoid is the gap that we have right now between the sheriff's office, their pay, my people's office, the two lowest, and then it goes to the Butch's office, and then Leonard's office, and then David's office. And what I'd like to do is see that our lower paid people are somewhere equal. So that number is important to me, because if we keep widening, if we're giving raises to the people that are making a lot more than the people that are making a lot less, we keep widening that gap, and I'll never catch up. You know, I've got a 5-year plan to catch up. I'm not against giving raises at all, but it's, you know, it's one of those deals where I'd like to know if they are at the top already, are they in the middle, or
But
are
we
they...
have no discretionary money like other departments, a lot of other departments do, not all of them. So we just have to deal with the budget that we're giving and have no other options of, you know, increasing those folks.
Okay, thank you so much.
Well, Jane, let me just clarify. You're asking for a 5% increase, and there hasn't been a raise since 12.
Yes, sir. And that was at a time when the entire county got a 3% raise.
Right, so that equates to
So
1%
it-
a year, less,
Yes, sir.
somewhere in that vicinity. Okay.
I mean, our office, trying to help Jane on this, again, it just becomes, she has no special revenues. I mean, most of the offices, they have some special revenues that can help. I know we use ours. I think the commissioners use theirs in that regard. She doesn't have that. She has what she has, and that's not to shortchange you. You know, we were for you, and we're for you still. We're for the sheriff still. But Jane just has what she has, and she has no flexibility, and we just felt it was time, and we told her to put it on, and we tried to do the best we could for her.
Also, I'd like to say one thing about the equality of the pay and everything. You know, I support that overall, but also remember that all of these positions are very different in their nature, and so I know we're all aware of that, but that, you know, you are never going to be able to make it totally equal, where the person, you know, that is just coming in out of college is going to be making the same as someone that, when they make a decision, it's going to be have a lot of weight to it. So just to interject that as a thought.
Several of us have state and national certifications. I don't even have enough money to pay for those. We have to pay for those ourselves. There's monthly meetings that we attend to keep our skills up, and they have to pay for those meetings and lunches and so forth on their own. So I feel like I need to support them, you know, to make sure that we stay at the highest level that the county needs.
I anticipate, from having been in the chairman's office, that we're going to hear from a number of other departments, just as the budget board would be aware. Once this hit the agenda, I started getting phone calls from other departments saying they will be putting ones for the future, just to balance. Any other discussion or questions of Jane? There's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 42.
Before we move on, can I go back to item number 38 just to clarify on the supplement?
Sure.
Okay. I think this board just approved to receive it. It's actually, we're asking that the board approves it, that the money go into reserve and the remaining go to county audit.
I believe I changed it. I did.
Did you? Okay.
I thought I motioned to approve. Okay.
Okay.
So,
All right, so is there a motion to reconsider item 38?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Now, is there action on item 38 again?
Motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll resume the docket.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we hear 43 before we hear 42.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Sheriff, welcome to the Horseshoe.
Thank you. If we're gonna deal with item 43 first, Mr. Skuda, please.
Good morning. Last month, the two main items I told you I was gonna bring to you all, to update on the financial report was inmate medical and inmate food. I've been on the phone with our inmate medical provider. They still have not, they've received claims, they have yet to pay those claims, so I don't have an exact update as to where we stand as far as the projection goes. They've assured me that we'll hopefully have that for next month's meeting, and so I'll provide that to you at that time. But I also promised that I would update you all on inmate food. Commissioner Johnson, I know a while back I told you we were hoping our population dropped below 2,000, and it has, and it's stayed there. So we're hoping that is a continual trend, which has a impact slightly on our inmate food costs, because that is one thing that is directly tied to our population. And so as we stand today, as you all know, in the budget, we budgeted $2.15 million for inmate food. We budgeted that knowing what the population was at the time, as well as the increased cost per meals while we're in a temporary kitchen, as well as the consumable costs, styrofoam, plastic bag, or paper bags, and things of that nature that are also required when we're in a temporary kitchen setting. I am pleased of where we're trending right now. There are some qualifiers to it, but if everything stays on track, it looks like we're going to be out of the temporary kitchen sometime in end of this year, but hopefully what they're telling us is by January. So that's definitely optimistic. And so by projecting out the last couple of weeks we've had as far as inmate population goes, and taking into account the assumption that we'll be out of the temporary kitchen, we're looking that we're trending lower than what we budgeted on inmate food, somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000. I give a range because it's hard to predict the ebbs and flows of what the population will do. But I do feel pretty confident that at least on the inmate food part, as we sit today, and nothing drastic changes and we're back in the kitchen, that we sit in a pretty good spot there, and we were pretty close on our estimate. In the unlikely event that we're still in the temporary kitchen for the rest of the fiscal year, we come in right at what was budgeted at the 2.15. So that's, to me, that's pretty good news there. And then if you all have any other questions, I'd be happy to try and answer some of those for you all.
How about inmate medical? Is that also something that correlates with population?
Not directly as direct of a correlation as inmate food, since it's a price per meal.
Mm-hmm.
On inmate medical, with the population coming down, the way I like to look at it is by lessening our population, we're lessening our risk pool for those claims. But we don't know, looking into the future, what inmate would have not been there because of it, because of something like the OR program that's been put in place, or what inmate necessarily is going to be that claim dollar. And so to tie an exact figure in, you really can't do that, but the population being lower lowers your risk liability to some extent. It's just not quantifiable.
So you have to encumber the money, but is that a monthly? Is it basically monthly that it's paid, or is it quarterly?
We fully encumber the base contract, which is for the services provided on site, and then we also have to fully encumber the estimate it's going to be for the pharmacy and aggregate cap, which is for off-site services and things and specialty services. So that's fully encumbered, and then they bill us those as they're paid on a monthly basis. Historically, those used to be just averaged out, and then the difference was paid at the end of the fiscal year. We've since changed that last year, and it's worked out a whole lot better for us. So the short answer to your question is, on the off-site and the pharmacy, we pay those as they're paid by the vendor, and we're billed that following month.
Okay.
Similar to employee benefits, the way that they're handled.
So I know that as on the task force, we're working to keep your population down, and hopefully that will happen. But it was brought to my attention a lot of times in the winter months, a lot of the street people and people that don't have much will get arrested to utilize the medical. So do you think that's going to increase your numbers, or do you think we'll keep going downward with all the people working on this?
I wish I could predict that. That's definitely a tough thing to predict. But you are correct in the statement that typically during the winter months we do see a little bit of an uptick in the jail population. But with this OR program this is the first time we've had that. And so I'm going to be optimistic that that program really helps alleviate some of that uptick we do see in the winter months.
Now, we're down to about 1950 is somewhere near the number, is that?
I believe that's roughly what I saw over the last day.
Do you know what we were the same time last year?
I don't. I know it was higher. I don't know what the exact number is.
Was it like 2,500, I believe?
I honestly don't know. But one thing I will do in the future, if you all would like, is when I get my financial report, I'll give that day's population versus what it was a year ago.
Okay.
Just as a reference.
All right.
But the medical, you ended up, you having to pay the full medical and the cap, right?
Yes, last year, you're talking about this year or last year?
Last year.
Last year we budgeted 1.5 is what the estimate was, and that was an estimate that was recommended based on past history and speaking with our medical provider. We ended up going over that. At end of June, they were estimating an overage of a little over $700,000, and so we were able to put some funds together from food being a little bit less and some of the blankets that were in general fund to cover that without coming back to you all for a supplemental request. I did get information this morning that number is actually going to pay out. We're hoping around the $500,000 mark, so there'll be somewhere between a $200,000 to $300,000 lapse once that blanket closes. That will go into next year's budget because this year it won't be available.
On your special revenue, did you guys carry over something like $4 million?
We did not carry over $4 million. This year so far, roughly, I looked at it, the numbers before I came over here, in service fee and special revenue, we've carried over approximately $1 million just in overall operating funds. And then there was another, I think it was between 1.1 and 1.3 that was in non-discretionary. So that's our drug fund, federal asset forfeiture, donations, things that are more restricted.
If we have this 1 to 150 left over in our food costs, can we use that for medical? Could that be?
Here's what we did last year, and it would be the same approach I would take this year, is I would leave that blanket in place up until June. And if it looks like we are trending the way we're estimating now, and it frees up where we know we won't utilize the entire blanket, as what we did last year was we closed that blanket out to free up the funds that were in there, re-encumbered a new blanket just for what we knew we were going to need for medical, and then the balance, for food, and then the balance we put towards the overage and inmate medical. And that would be the same approach I would take this year because it really worked out well last year.
Thank you.
But overall, the armor contract is up.
It is up this year. The contract itself is up this year as well as what we're anticipating the cap to be based on trends. The overall, just the known inmate medical costs and the estimate for the cap, it's up $465,000 roughly. There's some pennies to that. But
what do you need right now to pay your bills? Since it is a monthly deal, what would it take? And I realize that we're already a few months in, so you would have to get that money back too. What would it take to catch you up and get your bills paid up through this month?
I will speak to the absolute known. The known fact is that we have to fully encumber inmate medical and the cap at the $465,000 increase. So that has restricted those funds to be utilized on any other line item in our maintenance and operation budget in general fund. So those are the absolute knowns at this time as far as maintenance and operation goes.
And how much is that?
It was roughly 465. I can give you the exact number. I'll have to look at my notes.
Okay.
But you've encumbered it, but as we go through the next few months getting through the year, if we don't need that money, then that money would go back, right? In other words, if we don't have the medical charges, our population drops down to 18, 17, God helping us, then we wouldn't need as much for medical, and that money could go back into maintenance and things, even though it was encumbered for one thing, if you don't need it for that. You had to encumber it, but you don't necessarily have to use it.
We wouldn't be able to free those encumbrances up until June, and at that point, it would be, too late to use right now. I do want to point out one thing. You talked about using funds now with the 10%. We have about $85,000 we have left to spend in M&O until we hit that 90%, and then once we encumber our Kronos contract later this month, we're down to approximately $30,000 left to spend in M&O.
Okay.
And so the medical, that increase would truly help us out on the maintenance and operation of the jail moving forward the rest of the fiscal year.
Thank you for all this information. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to transfer $465,000.
We're not on that item.
Oh.
We have any more about the financial update from the sheriff's office? Is it, if not, it's...
I would just like to add some information for the board is, with Oklahoma City's success on this last ballot, they're going to be adding a number of police academies. And just for your knowledge, when they graduate police academies, it definitely affects our population. Our population will go up because you've got 50 rookie police hitting the street and they make a lot of arrests. So that's just for your knowledge, and just keep that in mind because it really affects our population in the jail because Oklahoma City is our biggest customer with the inmates.
Okay, is there a motion to receive the report?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now, Mr. Hooton, I guess you're wanting to go back to item 42. And
Are we allowed? Yeah. Are we on 42 now?
we are. We jumped ahead to do 43 first.
I'd like to motion to transfer $465,000 from general fund reserve to the sheriff's general fund budget 510. This is the amount of the increase of the armor medical contract, rather than the $803,376 requested.
I'd like to second that, and under discussion, that amount of money will be used to cover the increased cost of medical, which we're all aware of, that it's money spent in this year's contract with Armor.
Well, I have one question here.
So do I, so go ahead.
Last year, in our budget, and we left the budget the same, we went on a line item budget for the sheriff's office. John Wetzel brought it forward, and at that point, we stopped and reallocated funds to make sure it was funded. So, can we be sure, if the money that we're giving today isn't needed, instead of it being used for something else, can it be put back into the budget?
One of the things I plan on doing as part of our financial report is essentially give you all a line item update as far as the sheriff's office financials go on a monthly basis. I had most of it built today, but moving forward is something that I will plan on presenting to let everyone know. As PD and I can both agree, it's a big operation over there, and we do know the cost associated with it. And so, yes, in addition to the reports I'm given, we're more than happy to provide you all with monthly financial updates on the sheriff's office and totality of the general fund, similar to what Danny does with the entire fund, general fund.
Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan?
Is this $400,000 needed immediately, or is it gonna be needed over the next 3 months, or is it gonna be needed the whole balance of the fiscal year? When do you need to write a check to use this money?
There are a lot of line items that currently there's not a balance there to fund, because the 465 had to be fully encumbered up front for the inmate medical contract and the cap. So I would ask for it now, and then we're not asking for the motion wasn't for the full 803, and so I would feel comfortable with the 465 today, and then we would kind of look moving forward.
And you're absolutely spending the 465 on Armor Medical, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So you've already encumbered the money and used other monies available to you to cover this, so this is to reimburse that disbursement.
Exactly, that's a great way of putting it.
Okay. And so the remainder here, this 803, the difference, you're anticipating coming back before June 30 and needing the difference on that for these other items?
We don't know that. I would like to request from the board that that money be put on the watch list in case there are emergencies. I know we've got a huge plumbing problem coming up where we're gonna be replacing a lot of pipes working with the county. So I would like the remainder of that money to be put on the watch list if, in case there are emergencies that we may need that.
Is that what it's for, is plumbing? Is that what you had anticipated, the difference?
Well, that's, on any given day, you've got crises and emergencies over there, but we know we've got a huge plumbing issue coming that we're working with the county. And we're looking at buying material, we're looking at hiring pipe fitters to try to start working on these corroded, ruptured, busted up, rotten pipes. So, that's why I request the remainder of the money, if it would be put on the watch list. But
Okay.
the money we're asking for is the increase to the medical cost, and that's exactly what it'll be spent for.
Mr. Chairman, just to give you some assurances on when you refer to the balance, we will, with that update, we'll kind of give you an idea of where we stand on everything on a month-to-month basis, just as an informational to you all, which I think is important.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Are there any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you very much.
The, Augie?
Good morning, everybody.
Right before you do that, counsel, so since he's requesting that on the CET watch list is under item 40, should that be revisited and placed under there? It has to be a separate item coming on a future meeting?
No, I think that would be presented to the BEC.
Okay.
An agenda item for that body.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure.
Mr. Chairman, I have just point out, the 803 was already currently on the BET watch list, and so at next month's meeting, since it was, the 465 was approved today and was part of that 803,
Okay.
it'll automatically be taken off it'll be shown as already taken, and just the balance will be left on there.
I got you. Thank you. Sorry, Augie.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. Last month, with the help of Maureen Jelinas from Tyler, we closed the fiscal year 2017. Overall, I think it went very smooth. And Maureen relayed to me that, Danny's got a great handle on it now, and he could probably do it with his eyes closed next year. So, yeah. So it went great. So that's we have a training session, Tex and I, scheduled for next Tuesday with District 2 and 3 to go over work orders and inventory. District 2 has already started utilizing the work order system, and they're starting to populate the inventory we have. Tex gave me a spreadsheet, and we loaded it in the train, and they're going to review it and before we put it over in the production system. And things are going to start going good with the work orders and inventory and units, and get off of the highway cost system. We had some discussion internally and with Tyler regarding holding off on the 2017 upgrade that Tyler has out this year. Not too many people, not too many places are actually implementing it. They're actually waiting until 2018. We have an extra year on the version that we have right now, 11.2, so it's not like we're under any crunch to do the upgrade. So we're probably going to wait till next year when the 2018 version comes out and get that version going. As far as reporting goes, I've written a few for, Tex. Tech's been, again, a great help as far as getting work orders and inventory up and running. We got a new inventory sublocation report that we created so that you can, Munis, they only report on what you have. They don't break it out by sublocation, and I wrote a report that actually broke it out by sublocation, what you have as far as inventory goes. A work order inventory report that shows you where your inventory is going to which work order, and an equipment asset rate report that tells you the rates for each equipment that you use in each work order and the charges that go with that each equipment. And I'll be working on an equipment rates report for tech, so that, each employee, you know the rates before you put it on the work order. So that kind of sums up what's going on with Munis.
Any questions of Augie? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and $3,900 for our annual flu shot vaccine. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any board comments? Sheriff?
Mr. Chairman, on that last item, Dan is out dealing with a personnel matter. He asked me just to touch on this for you. That the $3,900 is just for employees of the county sheriff's detention office and the juvenile detention. The vaccinations for the rest of the population for Oklahoma County will be done in October. Dan is awaiting pricing on that. So just wanted you to know that this is just the first part of our flu shots.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like permission to, for Mr. Stein to make a presentation.
On the flu shot?
What is the presentation on? Is it an item that's already on the agenda?
I thought this was board comments.
No. Well, we're on board comments, but if this is pertaining to county business, it's something that needed to be on the agenda.
It's not county business.
I just got admonished on this yesterday. That's why I asked her permission. You want to consult with her sideline and see?
About to get too complicated for me. So if you, Leonard leaves and I can replace
Apparently it's okay. I just wanted to let everybody know. Thank you so much. We all support the sheriff's office trying to do the things he does, and one of the things he always talks about is how he is the largest licensed restaurant in the state of Oklahoma. The assessor's office likes to think of ourselves as the largest unlicensed restaurant, and last week we had a little chili cook-off, and a whole bunch of county employees came by, and it's a great group of people that we have here at the county, and we were going to raise money for the hurricane victims, and we raised $424.50 of donations from all folks around the county, and even some lawyers came by, so it was great. I know, but we welcomed them and gave them chili anyway, and thank you all for your participation, and that money's going to some good groups to help the hurricane victims.
All right, Sheriff?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to say, number one, thank you for supporting me today. It's my honor to be a part of this board. A way to describe the last 7 months has been probably the most interesting 7 months of my life. But I'm looking forward to the future and in the spirit of working together. It'll be my honor to work with you all, and I see nothing but good things for Oklahoma County moving forward, and hopefully we can work on the same page, and the sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned with Oklahoma County. Thank you very much.
Mr. Clerk?
Wanted to welcome the sheriff, of course, and also know that we all have confidence in him, and he's surrounding himself with some really highly qualified people that we're very happy to see, and we have confidence he's going to do great things in the future, and hopefully now you'll go out and tell everyone how nice we are here versus last time.
Mr. Court Clerk?
I'd like to welcome you, tell you we're glad that you're here, PD. Thank you. It's going to be an honor to serve with you.
Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you very much. I have to say I'm so glad for you, PD. We've been friends for over 30 years, and you've always been this kind of guy. And I'm so glad that the public is giving you an opportunity to see how really professional you are and what you are going to do for us here in the county. Thank you so very much. And thank you for being my friend. The other thing is I've been giving John Wilkerson lots of laudatory stuff, but I got to talk about Lee. Lee helps me out a lot, so I don't want that to go undocumented. Thank you.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Just also welcome to PD, and I guess now you're a little more appreciative of some of us that have been through political campaigns
Yes.
You got a good taste of the politics that often accompany those things. So anyway, we're glad you're here. Glad that seat is filled now.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sesser.
I would just like to say, PD, as of today, I'm gonna start trying to learn to like you.
Well, that's a big step forward. Thank you.
Jerry?
Welcome, PD.
Yep. All right,
Thank you, Jerry.
welcome again. All right, any citizens to be heard for the budget board? Seeing none, is there any new business? If not, is there a motion to recess into executive session?
Motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, and we can get those, give me 6 grand. I said, this.
Give him another week.
We're gonna see if he turns up.
Being asked a question.
It turns up brown, we'll know it's again good. He doesn't get brown when he goes in good. He didn't get brown when he goes in good.
He gets red.
I've been getting sun when I go in good, not saying that you need to put on sun and low good. Come back same color I go.
You know what I mean?
I used to put her in the layout like it.
Is there a motion to return to regular session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion on the last item? Item 50.
What are you asking for?
Is there any action?
No action.
Move that the item be denied.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No. Do we have a count on that?
Let's do a roll call.
Roll call vote? Roll call.
Treasurer
Yes.
Sesser,
No.
District 3,
No.
District 2.
No, wait a minute. Clarifying that
What we're voting on, I may have voted on too.
I moved, yeah,
To deny.
to deny.
What,
Yeah.
what are we voting on?
To
For
deny
sure,
his
that, because
motion.
you guys got me
Should've moved.
confused now.
We're
What is it?
denying his motion.
Should have moved the other direction. You wanna make the motion to be the same way. So, may I move?
Movie be allowed to read movies.
Well, we got dueling motions here.
Not bad.
We wanna,
Yeah, well, in order to vote the way I want, I'm gonna vote the opposite of what I.
No, this is, your motion
Is
is
to
denied
deny.
on the floor, you can vote yes.
All right.
I voted no.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're through.
Yes, District 2 no.
okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?